Hey, welcome back, kids. I've got another exciting episode of No Subs, No Dubs for you. This is Casey K. And, let's just get, I was going to say let's just get into it, but I got to remember what Baka Boy was telling me the other day. Baka Boy, my producer, by the way, producer-editor, he got pretty frustrated at me. It was a couple of things. He goes, "Oh, you can't just watch good movies." And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to just watch good movies. So he found me a movie and he said, "This one doesn't seem to be good." And I'm like, all right. And then the other thing is he got mad about me not like promoting us. He's like, "You promote all these other channels, why don't you promote us?" So this time for the recommend, I'm going to recommend you go to patreon.com/no-subs-no-dubs and give us some of that sweet, sweet money, please. I think it's set at like $2 a month. So if we do like 4 episodes in a month, that's like 50 cents per show. Remember that whole Dan Carlin a buck a show thing? This is half a buck a show. So yeah, well, let's get into it. What is this? Spoiler alert. Spoils abundant from now on. And it's also what I can understand of the movie. So you might not get totally spoiled because this is a very dialogue heavy movie. There's some like gags and stuff. Yeah, I didn't really follow it very well. It was not a great movie. It's definitely not a great movie. Not terrible, I guess, if you watch it in the original language and you understand it, or you have like a sub going or something. But this is one of those movies where you have to have some sort of sub. What movie am I talking about? It's a French movie called The Funny Colonel. Right? I watched this on YouTube, so you can go find it there somewhere if you want to watch it. And you can pause this and go watch it and then listen to me. Or you can just listen to me and see how much I got correct. Yeah, this is supposed to be a comedy, right? And the first, few minutes of this movie, I was like, okay, this is probably going to be a funny comedy. Because it's about these two bumbling, and I'm going to call them Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Tweedledee's the crook with he's got like a tweed thing on, so I'm calling him Tweedledee. Tweedledum is the better looking crook. And they start out by cutting glass, right? For a storefront. They're cutting the glass to put their hand in and grab something. And the cutting just makes so much noise. I'm like, this is funny. And then the glass falls apart and they put their hand, one of them, D or something, puts his hand through. And there's already a hand in there. And it grabs whatever, they're like diamond they're looking for. And it just goes off and it's like, oh, okay, these crooks are getting out crooked. These thieves are out thieved in this situation. And then they chase the person who stole their stuff, stole what they were trying to steal before them. And they chase him into a church. So I'm like, oh, okay, so this person's a church person. That makes sense. Maybe this is a bigger commentary on the church will steal before you do. And they go to the church and they get out of there and whatnot. And then they go to a bank and it doesn't show them stealing from the bank. They drive up to the bank and they just go in and they're in there for a little bit and someone comes out and messes up their car and then sits in their the car that the person came up in. And the two thieves just come out with bags of money and they run to their car and it's all messed up. So they go to this taxi car, I guess, and put their money in and the car just drives off and it's like, oh, you guys are idiots. Then it kind of goes into some weird, oh, by the way, spoilers. If you're not following this, spoilers by this point. I'm spoiling the whole movie to my brain. Anyway, yeah, they go into this. Oh, you get introduced to this orange hat lady. And she's pretty good looking, so they constantly hit on her and stuff, grabbing her and stuff. I'm like, oh, the whatever time period this was in, that was funny. Or that was just how you did it. You know? I don't know. Anyone from that time period, is there anyone out there who's yeah, then we'll just grab a woman and start kissing her? I don't know. They meet the girl. Well, we meet the girl, this orange hat lady, and she runs to this pub and the Tweedledee and Tweedledum crooks are at the pub. and they see her and they're instantly like, ooh la la, ooh la la. So they follow her to like a table, and she takes out a cigarette, and the bartender, before they can even get a light for her, lights it up for them. So it's kind of funny. And then like there's a cake delivered for some reason, and there's like an angel. There's like a little card that shows like an angel, and it's like, we got away with it before you did. The cake was weird. I don't quite understand that. And then there's the angel letter thing, and then there's a police chase for some reason, and they get away from the police, but they wreck. And then the orange hat lady's still with Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And one of them, I think it's Tweedledum, is like kissing on her leg when they're all like falling down together. And I'm like, okay, well, who would have thought the French would be so horny? I don't know. It's weird. You never think about that when you think of French people. And then they break into this weird mask house. And this is where it starts losing steam for me. They get to the mask house, and it's like interesting. There's an alligator that's like on the wall. You're like, oh, okay. And there's a bunch of masks. And then they're going through the mask house trying to steal stuff, I guess. And one of the Tweedles steals like a decanter top, I guess to impress Orange Hat Lady because it looks like a diamond. And there's some more sexy stuff going on. And there's a striptease situation. And it gets broken up. I think Tweedledee's watching the striptease, and he's all like happy. And he's showing like this diamond for Orange Hat Girl, but Tweedledum comes in and breaks that up. And they catch that it's just a decanter top that's pretending to be a diamond. And Tweedledum gets a little slap happy at this point. He starts slapping Dee all around. Then he starts slapping the Orange Hat Lady like, you fell for this? And it's like, okay. And then there's a military man. I guess this is the colonel. And the colonel comes in, and there's some hijinks that go along with it. And then there's this radio thing that they're listening to. Tweedledee and Tweedledum are listening to a radio all the time. And I guess they're getting some crook information from the radio. And they're talking with this military guy, this colonel. And there's eventually a fight that breaks out, and they smack him on the head, and he falls over. And then it's weird. It's like they cut to like the two buffoons are dressed up. One's dressed up as a colonel, one's dressed up as like the servant person. And the servant person just keeps going Kali all the time and pretending he's like Indian. Which is, I thought Kali was what you said before you grab someone's heart from their chest and ripped it out and just had a beating heart and you start Kali. Yeah, this is a very weird one. And then there's a lot of just talking. And then the older lady comes in. She's not that old. She's like a madam. She comes in at this point, and she has her own little assistant. And they're talking to Tweedledee and Tweedledum, who are all dressed up now. And they're like all trying to trick this madam. And there's a motorcycle man. And he comes in. And then you see the colonel, right? Not the fake colonel at this point, not I think Tweedledum is the fake colonel. The colonel is just tied up on a bunch of potatoes, which is pretty funny to me. That one was pretty funny too. I'll give him that. And then it's like a bunch of crooks just showing up, and it's crooks against crooks, but they're all just talking. It's kind of boring. And then, yeah, there's a police guy. He shows up, and there's lots of talking. That's what my note says, lots and lots of talking. So maybe this is funny with subs, but it doesn't seem very funny at all. It's one of these old talking movies. Where's the action? And then, I guess the madam has a diamond, right? And then they're all eating snacks. And that was another one. There's like 3 points where I was like, oh, this is pretty funny. And they have the colonel tied up, the real colonel. And he's downstairs in the basement. And he's like reaching out to grab snacks that are on a string that they put up for him. So that was pretty funny. And then the orange hair girl, she had left for some reason earlier. And then she decides to start coming back, I guess. I don't know. what was going on there. And the orange hat girl, she's like pretending she isn't a snoop when she comes back in, but the fake spouse of the fake colonel, which is Tweedledum, and then an old black hat guy. He came in on like a bicycle. He shows up. And there's also this like brown suited dude. That's when I was saying like crooks against crooks. It was getting it was convoluted. There's some brown suit dude who had like a camera. So I called him like the photographer in it. And he's taking pictures, and him and the policeman, they just leave, right? They just get told to leave. And so they leave, and everyone who's still there, the madam, the Tweedledee, Tweedledum, some black hat guy, I guess orange hat lady, and just whoever's left, they all go to bed. And then we see like a scene where they're all talking in their sleep, because everyone just talks in their sleep while they're asleep, I guess, in this world. In military, the colonel, the real colonel, he's talking in his sleep, but he's on like a big thing of potatoes. And it's very, very weird. And at this point, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, they get into their thievery in the night. And they start around D. I think Dumb or D, one of them goes in to the madam's room, and because she was wearing this big old diamond ring, he steals the ring. And then he's out there thievering, and then someone comes in behind him, I think Dumb or D, smacks Dumb, one of them, on the head while the diamond's there, and then grabs the diamond for himself. It's pretty convoluted. And then the policeman comes back because he hears moans, because the guy who got hit was moaning from being hit in the head, as you do. And he comes back. I don't know why he was just like snooping around too. That's what I was thinking, like, is he a crook as well? Just in a policeman's uniform? But maybe not. And he comes in to, like, the room where the madam's sleeping, and D's on the floor, Dumb's on the floor, and there's weird, like, fights throughout this whole thing, and slapping and stuff like that. It's very bizarre. And then the policeman, so the madam, she gets the diamond back, but before that, policeman comes in, and the fake colonel, so Dumb, Tweedledum, is talking to the policeman, and D's there, but he keeps going, Kali, Kali, he's faking the servant thing. And they're all talking, and then they try to pipe smoke for a second, and for some reason they put the diamond in the tobacco, right? And, like, they scoop it up in one of their pipes, and it gets stuck in there. And they're trying not to, like, get it lit on fire. It's very, like, bizarre. And then eventually they hit the policeman on the head, right? You got to hit the policeman on the head. And they're trying to take this diamond out of the pipe, and they string it along because it's a ring, so they get around the ring part of it. And it pops out and goes, like, across the room, so they're looking for it. And now, madam, she wakes up and she's like, where's my diamond? So she's going downstairs. And this whole time, she's been kind of trying to get sexy with Tweedledum because he's a colonel, right? And he's looking good. And he's got his fake mustache on and all that stuff. So they're like trying to trick her into not noticing a diamond that's on the floor. And they start like making out and whatnot and getting sexy. And then she finally looks down and, oh, my diamond. And the servant who was crawling around the floor, Tweedledee, starts going Kali, Kali, because they're all faking it for everybody. And it's weird. It's not very good. It's not very good. And then the policeman finally gets up and he comes back and he's like, I got hit in the head. And she's like, would you put my diamond in your policeman's safe? And he's like, okay. So they exchange something, and he goes back to his policeman's safe and puts it in, and Tweedledee and Tweedledum get him drunk, I think. So he falls asleep in his room, and they decide to change their clothes and try to break into the safe, right? And they break into the safe, and they get their thing. Well, at this time, like, there's like a bunch of shadowy stuff happening, and they get the ring, which was put in a letter. So they get the letter, and they open up the letter, and it's like been missing because someone in the shadows, the person from the beginning, the angel, has gotten to it, right? So they go back to the house and Tweedledum has a tantrum. And they've switched clothes again for some reason now. They've gone back to fake Colonel and servant dude, even though they had switched clothes once before. And then there's a wedding with the Colonel and the Madam. I don't quite, maybe it's a diamond thing? I don't know what's going on. I kept looking at the priest. I'm like, why don't you suspect the priest? Because the priest could be the angel dude, stealing all your stuff before you can steal it. It doesn't make much sense. And then the blind glasses guy shows up and he comes in. I'm friend of the Colonel. So he goes over and he's like shaking his hand and stuff. And they're being weird about it because they're like, I'm not the Colonel, but this guy can't really see. And so I guess they get away with pretending to be the Colonel because the blind glasses dude doesn't see anything. And then he gives him some sort of gift. The blind guy gives the Colonel a gift, which looks like a token of some sort. And I was like, okay. And then there's a bunch of clapping after the gift, and the mustache comes off. The fake Colonel's mustache comes off. Tweedledum's mustache comes off at this point. That's when he's hugging his servant, and the mustache just falls off. It's very weird. So, yeah, the clapping stops, and the real Colonel comes in. He's broken away from his potatoes, and he comes in his, like, 90s. And they have another fight. There's fights all throughout this thing. It's not just the slap-happy scene. It's like these weird little fights. And the real Colonel comes in, and they fight, and Tweedledee has some sort of angel stuff, like little letters in his pocket, and they all fall out, and he's possibly the angel. Now, Tweedledee's not dumb, so he's the one in the servant suit. And everyone's proud of him. For some reason, like, you're the guy on the radio. Remember the radio? The radio keeps coming back, and I guess they listen to it intently, and I'm like, I don't get this. Well, Tweedledee gets cuffed, and there's interviews with him as he's walking out, and a bunch of police come in, they take him away, and then they find out that the Tweedledee isn't the angel because there's a diamond that's put on, like, the police car. The diamond that they were searching for, they put it in the police car's seat. Okay? And some police guy sees it and goes, you're not the angel. Let him go. I guess. I don't know. So everyone's upset with him. He gets slapped. As he's like, he pretended to be the angel. The thief angel. Dude. So he's not the angel. And then Tweedledum escapes. But he escapes with, like, the Madam. Because the Madam's still, like, everyone goes out but the Madam and Tweedledum. This is earlier. And they look at each other and the Madam's like, I still want you. Because the French are super horny in this movie. And so they escape in a car and they're going off, and it's there's like 2 car chases, but they're kind of crappy car chases. It's like, oh, okay. Then it pretty much ends with Tweedledee and Tweedledum. You're between the 2 Tweedles at this point. They're just at home, right? And that's it. So it's a movie about like 2 bumbling thieves in a mask house talking. And apparently it's funny when they're talking. I don't know. I thought it'd be much funnier. The potatoes gag was pretty good. Some of the other stuff was like, okay, this isn't bad, but that's essentially it. And if you followed any of what I was saying, good on you, because just thinking about it now, I was looking through my notes too, as I was trying to like comprehend what was going on, and it just doesn't make much sense. As far as the review time, talking about it now, thinking about it now, not good. Not good. This is one of those movies that I would have to say has to have a subtitle for some sort of context. This was bizarre. This was not very good as a movie in general. While I'm watching it, I'm like, it's an old movie, which I'm not saying old movies are automatically bad. Some are really good. Some, like, in this kind of vein, like Duck Soup. This is no Duck Soup, by the way. I don't care even if I knew what the dialogue was saying. This is not the French version of Duck Soup, okay? I could watch that, not know English, and still be, like, awesome. You know, or a Charlie Chaplin movie. No, this is not that. This is a very dialogue heavy, and the dialogue heavy parts just get a little bit boring because they're over the top wackiness acting, doesn't really work when you don't know what the heck they're talking about. The music is kind of obnoxious. It's very of the time, and it's very loud when the music comes on. And then sometimes it's weird because sometimes it's like jazzy, and the jazzy parts I'm like, all right, I can feel this. And then it goes back to dun, 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 and it's like, I like piano, and you're making the piano music unfun for me. This is not good. Oh yeah, I think the best part, honestly, is when they're trying to when they bank rob, and when they try to get through the storefront by cutting in the glass. I thought this movie was going to be like hijinks like that, and then they're stuck in one place the whole time, and it's quite unfortunate. It's kind of boring. That's what happens when Baka Boy's like, you can't like every single movie you watch. So this one, I'm going to say like a hard 2, and I'm going to say it maybe even, or it's somewhere in the 2s. Like it's not 1 quality. I'm not going to go there, but it's definitely not a 3, So I'm feeling it hard 2 at this point. Definitely not good. Doesn't look that good. I don't think this one would hold up compared to other like classic French movies that I haven't seen, that I'm going to see, and I'm still going to be probably confused about. And comedy's hard in this format. I think you have to know what they're talking about a little bit to really judge a comedy or anything like that. And this is one of those ones I don't really want to watch it with subs. It's the shortest movie I've done so far, and it felt like the longest movie I've had to watch. It really did. It felt longer than All Quiet on the Western Front. This movie felt like it'll never end. They just keep talking, and they're talking about who knows what, diamonds, I guess, and pretending to be like Indian, and pretending to be, I was thinking about that military man. I was like, is the colonel some sort of like oppressive force in India? Does he go out there and hunt? The first moment you see him, he's all dressed up like an explorer, or one of those, when they'd send out people to Africa back in the day, and they'd have like the brown suit and a little hat and stuff, and they'd go off oppressing peoples. That's what I was thinking when I was watching it. Oh, not very good. I was thinking about it though. It's like, I need to try another comedy sometime. Need to try a better comedy and see if it's good. Are there a bunch of French people out there going like, this is one of our classic movies, and you just didn't get it? Or a bunch of French people going, this is like some sort of movie my grandfather would like. It's all slapstick and silly. It wasn't even that slapstick. The slapstick parts were pretty good. The fighting bits were, I guess, slapstick, but they didn't really make sense. Like the what do they call it? The comedy where drawing a blank. The physical comedy, right? That stuff wasn't too super bad. That was actually pretty interesting. But when you get into the nature of the story, it was kind of boring. It didn't seem like there was much there. I need action, I guess, in my comedies. So hard to. What do you say about that, Baka Boy? You said I'd have to watch something that wasn't good, so I decided to watch something that was not good. Not good at all. And yeah, that's about it. If you could follow the story from what I said, I'm going to say this. It's on YouTube. It's free. So you can find it on YouTube. Watch it. You can either watch it with or without subtitles. And then let me know somehow out there. Maybe go to No Subs, No Dubs on Patreon. And send me some money. Maybe we can do like a forum thing. I don't know. I think Baka Boy was saying that it's going to be all, for now, we're figuring out some stuff with that. That might just be like donations based at the moment. So maybe I should stop talking. Baka Boy, cut all that out. I should have stopped talking a while ago. Except for the part where I say subscribe to Patreon.com/no subs, no dubs. We need that sweet, sweet $2. But yeah, maybe someone's out there like can watch it and go like, he was completely wrong. Or not. I have no idea. Maybe I was completely right. Maybe that is just what pretty much happens in the movie. Anyway, yep, so that's that movie. Fun movie. Not really. That was a trudge. That was boring. Unfortunately. But hey, I mean, it's what you get with this podcast. You get boring movies sometimes. And if you feel the need to watch it and see if I'm right, go ahead and let me know. Anyway, it'd be much, much appreciated if you guys end up give this podcast 5 stars on your podcast listening experience app thingy. That'd be much appreciated. Get the word out. Tell your friends. Go to patreon.com/no subs, no dubs. Give us some of that sweet money. And yeah, that's all I got for you today. This is Casey Kamikaze Kidd, blowing up all over this bitch. And take it away, Baka boy. By the way, I'm just gonna go out on a limb here. What is with the? Am I gonna talk about this not every French episode, Baka boy? Not every French episode. Will I talk about this? But what is with? My assumption is that because they're so good at cooking, that they put the spices in, and when they smell like the aroma, the first thing was the French chef. But anyway.